Hello, welcome to another Becoming a Modern Man. We are playing blue-red Pyromancer, Pascal Vernon's Pro Tour Rivals of Ixalan deck list. And this time we're running up against red-black hollow one, which also saw some play in the top tables of the Pro Tour. I think Ken Hero played the deck. I don't think our opponent's got the most up-to-date list. I don't think he's running Goblin Law, but similar deck list. So this is our opening hand. We've got Snapcaster, Serum Visions, and Ops, and a bunch of lands. Looks pretty good, to be honest. Hopefully Serum Visions and Ops will be able to find us a little bit more action, but it seems like a pretty good hand in general. It's going to lead off with a fetch into the Steam Vents. Then I'm going to Serum Visions. Find Serum Visions and Cryptic Command. I don't think we want Cryptic at this very moment in time, so I think we're probably going to bottom that and probably top the Serum Visions. Put these off with a Blood Crypt into a Flame Blade Adept, which can be quite powerful. We draw into the Serum Visions that we put on top. The side Cryptic likely to be a bit too slow. So we're going to Serum Visions again. We find a Mana Leak and a Scalding Tarn. I'm going to bottom the land for sure. I think we top the Mana Leak. Obviously if we can counter his discard spells, then we're in a fairly good spot. We also draw into a Remand. I'm not sure whether it's right or not to keep the Mana Leak on top. Maybe we should have bottomed it, particularly if we have a Remand, but I believe I keep it. Like I say, if we can keep him off his discard spells, we'll be in pretty good shape. Our opponent leads off with a double Street Race Cycle. Cracks a Wood Foothills, finds a mountain, and then I think it's Cathartic Reunion we see here. So the Pro Tour deck list runs Goblin Law over Cathartic Reunion. I haven't had a chance to test it. I played with Cathartic Reunion when I tested out this deck a while back, but I think Goblin Law is probably just that bit more powerful. Angler and a Bloodghast go into the graveyard. And it draws 3 cards. He's going to hit us for 5. Turns out he doesn't have any hollow ones or anything, so didn't hit anything particularly exciting on his turn, so that works out pretty well for us. We opt into the Mana Leak. I don't know whether we kept that on top or not, but I assume we did, on the basis that it's there. So we draw into Lightning Bolt on our turn, which is good. Can kill off the Flame Blade Adept with that, and obviously good to see that our opponent's not getting hollow ones or anything. So we've got counter magic. We're going to see this Bloodghast come back, which is fairly predictable. Magus of the Moon is kind of an unusual one. Don't see that too often. Our deck isn't really badly affected by Magus of the Moon or Blood Moon effects, really. We're fairly resilient to it. The main problem being Cryptic Command, obviously. Cryptic Command's pretty dead if a Blood Moon is on the battlefield, but otherwise we're fairly resilient to it. And there's lots of islands in the decks, so it's not the end of the world. But we are going to kill the Magus here, just to unlock our blue mana and our counter magic. Draw into another Lightning Bolt on our turn, which is good. Just going to pass the turn back to our opponent, see what he wants to do. But Lightning Bolts us, which we don't really have anything to say about. Then goes for a Burning Inquiry, which we're going to Remand here. But doesn't seem to have another red source, so happy enough getting rid of that. No follow-up from our opponent. Attacks with the Flame Blade Adept, which should go kill off. Obviously knowing he's got Burning Inquiry in hand, and that's going to become troublesome. Find a Flooded Strand, draw a Logic Knot, which isn't overly useful. But I suppose we can, again, kill his enablers. He's going to try and Burning Inquiry again. Which we're going to Mana Leak. Get rid of that. Attacks with 2. Going to Snapcaster here, Lightning Bolt, and then block. Assuming our opponent doesn't have a land here based on his previous plays, so we're able to just clear up the board a little bit. And hopefully prevent ourselves from going too low. I mean, we are on quite a low life total at this moment in time. We draw into Young Pyromancer, which is obviously really good for us. It's a good way to deal with his Bloodghast, because we can just make 1/1s off all our spells, which can block, which seems pretty good. I guess his Bloodghast back. Tries to play Flamewake Phoenix. Not sure if he shouldn't have just attacked first, because now I get to counter the Phoenix and make an Elemental, which means we've got a good blocker. Burning Inquiry doesn't really achieve much for our opponent. We draw into Snapcaster Mage, and we've got Roast and 2 lands we discarded to the Inquiry. So, attack for 2, because Bloodghast can't block. Don't cast Faithless Looting, which is fine. Tries to Fatal Push our Young Pyromancer, so we're going to Snapcaster Mana Leak that in response. Making another token. Draw another Lightning Bolt, and yeah, with opponent's got 0 cards in hand, and we're able to finish him off here with the Lightning Bolt and the attack. Being lethal. So yeah, kind of a close one. We certainly got very low on life, but we managed to turn it around. Young Pyromancer is certainly very good at blocking and dealing with early pressure. He didn't really get any of his big threats out. There was no hollow ones from our opponent, and no anglers either. So got a little bit lucky on that end of things, not having to deal with any of the truly big threats in the deck. And we managed to take back control of the game and finish our opponent off nicely in game 1. Okay, here we are for sideboarding. So our opponent is red, black, hollow one. Seemingly with some unusual deck choices, card choices like main deck Magus to the Moon, which is kind of interesting. So, as I say, Magus to the Moon not really that concerning for us. So what do we want? I suppose we want Relic of Progenitus. Same target's graveyard, gets rid of the Bloodghasts, and makes Gurmag Angler less effective. Flamewake Phoenix as well with another card that comes back from their graveyard. So lots of graveyard things going on. So Relic of Progenitus seems pretty good for that matchup. For this matchup, Anger of the Gods is okay at getting rid of some of the smaller creatures in their deck, but not very effective against Angler or Hollow One. So I'm not sure we won't necessarily want to be bringing that in. Maybe we could think about bringing a copy in. A Braid seems very good, just as a way of killing Hollow One, and it also kills everything else that isn't an Angler, basically. So I think that's definitely a card we want to bring in. In terms of our other cards, Spell Sled doesn't really do anything. They're not big on instant spells, so Dispel's not very good. Ceremonious Rejection could be used to counter Hollow Ones, but that's really all it does, so I'm not too excited by that. Disdainful Stroke does count their bigger threats, but I don't think that's particularly good. We're probably just better off with Mana Leak or Remand. We could bring in Negate, but I don't think that does a whole lot for us. Vendilion Click is a good way to fly over them, to be honest. Maybe we bring in the Click. Yeah, I mean, there's Roast is good in the main deck, as it kills off Hollow Ones and is also able to kill Angler. So really we don't want to change too much, I don't think. I would say probably bring in the Relic. maybe take out Electrolyze. It's not its absolute best. Or maybe even the Lightning Bolts, because they're not at their absolute best in this matchup. Yeah, I think otherwise we're pretty well set up against their deck. Possibly cut some of the Cryptics, I suppose. They're kind of slow if our opponent gets off to a fast start. So I think probably those are the cards we're looking at cutting. Spell Snare probably wants to come out. It only really hits Cathartic Reunion in their deck, I think. So I don't think that's a particularly good card for us. So I think we're looking at possibly bringing out some of the Cryptics, bringing in a Braid, bringing in Relic of Progenitus, and otherwise I think we're pretty well set against their deck. Okay, here we are, game 2. So this is our opener, Thing in the Ice, Opt, and a bunch of lands. Probably slightly too many lands, but Thing in the Ice is seems like it's really good in this matchup. Being able to bounce the Hollow Ones and Gurmag Anglers, etc. back to the hand seems really good, and even as a 0/4, it's a nice wall against Bloodghast, etc. So yeah, feel pretty good about Thing in the Ice. It seems like a really good card for this matchup in general, provided we can flip it in good time. So opponent leads off with a Relic of Progenitus, which is kind of interesting. I don't know if that's over sideboarding. I mean, obviously, Princess using Snapcaster Mage, but it doesn't do a whole lot else against us, so I'm not sure how good that is. We're going to fetch up a Steam Vents and kill off this Flameblade Adept that our opponent played on turn 2. Draw into a Braid, which is nice. You can force our opponent to get rid of the Relic if needs be, but I don't think that's going to be particularly necessary. Probably going to hold this one for a creature, ideally a Hollow one. Run out Thing in the Ice now. Obviously with a lot of spells to back it up. But has a Fatal Push to deal with that, unfortunately. Opponent plays Faithless Looting into a Hollow one, which we're fine with, thanks to a Braid in hand. I opt, bottom a land and draw into a Lightning Bolt. And just pass the turn with a Braid up. So yeah, not a lot of exciting stuff going on our opponent's side of the field. He's only got one card in hand at this point. Kind of surprised he didn't crack the Relic at this point. Plays Inquisition. So I'm going to play Snapcaster in response to that, because presumably that's the card he will be looking to take here, and obviously that gets the threat down onto the board for us. Uses the Relic, so we leave Lightning Bolt in play. He's now going to pop the Relic and draw a card. But we actually have enough mana that we can cast an Opt or a Lightning Bolt, but I think we're going to go for the Lightning Bolt just to finish off our opponent as quickly as possible. So we're going to be able to Lightning Bolt here. Snapcaster comes down, and then we can Lightning Bolt our opponent again, putting him down to 7. And our opponent takes the Electrolyze. He gets that 2, put our opponent down to 4. On his turn, I'm going to use these Field of Ruins that we've got. It's unlikely that we're going to be able to mana screw him particularly, but I think it's probably just a good idea to sort of thin out our deck on our end of things, and hopefully make our draws a lot much better. I mean, it's kind of risky, I suppose, but this does potentially see him off of a few cards. So this Field of Ruin, I think he searches up a swamp. So yeah, now we can't cast a Flamewing Phoenix. So that's obviously good. We have made his life a little bit more difficult with that. And yeah, if he'd searched up Mountain, Swamp, then he wouldn't be able to cast Bloodghast if he happens to draw one. So kind of like that. I suppose on the flip side we have filled up his graveyard a bit if he did draw into Angler, so not sure whether that was the right or wrong play necessarily. But Inquisitions, we could have opted there, but I don't think it makes a great deal of difference. Obviously if we opt into a card we want, then our opponent just hits it with the Inquisition. I suppose we probably should have opted, in case we hit into sort of Cryptic Command or something that he couldn't hit with the Inquisition. But there it is, Lightning Bolt drawn after the attack, and we were able to finish off our opponent. So yeah, all went pretty well this matchup. Seems like a fairly favourable one, I would say, generally. As long as they don't get off to too blistering a start. We've got answers for all of their sort of all their creatures. We've got main deck Roasts, which is pretty good against Anglers and Hollow Wands. And one main deck of Braid as well. So yeah, as long as they don't get too out of hand, I think we can definitely take control of this game. It's just more about preserving your life total and sort of making sure that you don't get overrun too quickly. But yeah, the deck certainly has all the answers it needs to deal with the deck, and it's just really a matter of finding them and having the time to get there.